What is up, Tube users? I am the Stereotypical Gamer, and welcome back to another fantastically fun games for under $15. Today, we are taking a look at one of my favorite games that I've played through this year, and that is Arco. This game was so much fun to play, and I think a big part of that is the story aspect of this game. This game has such a great storyline, and the interesting thing about it is when I think of great games with great stories, I think of like a lot of different dialogues, different like pathways for the story to develop, and different choices that lead to different things and stuff like that. But this game, it's all done through text. There is different like pathways you can choose, but it's all pretty linear, and the whole story is just told through text. But on top of that, the music that plays throughout really hits the emotions of the text and what is happening on the screen. It's just so beautifully crafted together, and it's just such a enjoyment of a story to just follow along with. And while I think the story is the best part of this game, the overall combat is really fun and really enjoyable. All the different combat scenarios are they feel similar because you don't have a lot of abilities to really choose from, especially starting out, but all the different locations that have like these different interactable objects that you can use during combat and stuff really makes each fight feel unique. And I love all the different like equipment you can get and the different like pathways you can upgrade your character to make them stronger. By the end, you kind of get all of the abilities, but kind of figuring out a good pathway to level up in is really fun, and it kind of makes going back and replaying it giving it a unique feel, like going a different branch way than you've done before and choosing different options. It's really fun and really interesting, and it gives it a lot of replayability, I feel. And I really love how the story is told in this game. Basically, it's split into, I think, 5 acts in total. In the first 3, you are playing as different characters that like somehow get their way into fighting a common enemy, and then by the end of each act they kind of gather in the same spot. And it's really interesting seeing these different people seeing their stories with this enemy and having them gather together to team up to fight kind of like the final boss of this enemy. I don't want to give away too much of the story because it is really interesting and really fun, but it is really cool to see how each of the acts kind of play into one another, and how each of the characters, just all of their stories collide together. It's really well told. And I love the plethora of different secrets there are. Like, it doesn't seem like there's a lot. There's not a whole lot like of exploring to do and like stuff to try and find for secrets, but there's like different interactables with objects that you'll find throughout the journey that like will just come in handy in certain locations. And it's really cool that they like have these like just completely secret areas. There would be like no way that you would know something is there unless you had this certain object when you got to that location. And then there's like a secret boss fight that you just didn't even know about or anything like that. And it's just really cool how these secrets are done. And I absolutely love the art style of this game. The colorations and the kind of different locations that you go to through each act and the different color palettes that each of them have is just really well done. And I just love the pixelated art style and the gorgeous backgrounds that you have while like exploring different landscapes is just, it's so beautiful. And I just love how it's told in just these different areas that you explore. I just love taking in the sights of them. And I love how simplistic and easy everything is to understand. Like, you're not dealing with like super high numbers. Even like at the end game, the final boss, I think only has like 25 health or something like that. So you're not dealing with a whole lot of different like numbers in terms of like things getting stronger by doing more damage and stuff like that, or taking more damage. But it's just more about the kind of skills that you learn by playing the game. And I really love that, and just kind of how it all comes together in like some of the end boss fights at the end of acts is really well done. And I love the challenge that is presented when doing like an evil evil playthrough. Basically, you kind of have like different options of doing like good in missions or doing like evil things and stuff like that. And the more evil things you do, you get this guilt attached to you, which makes the combat a little bit more difficult. Basically, all the combat in this game is turn-based, and when you have these guilts, you'll have ghosts that will try and move to you while you're paused in combat, so it forces you to make plays a lot faster, or else you'll take damage from these ghosts. And I like that you have to have this like quickness, and it makes it a lot more of a challenge. And it's really interesting, maybe not the first time playing through. I think playing a good playthrough the first time just to get an understanding of all the combat and how it all works and stuff like that, but then playing through a second time as an evil playthrough is a lot of fun because of that extra challenge that's added on top of things. But while I did really enjoy my time playing through this game, there were some things that I didn't like about it, so let's get into the bad aspects of this game. One thing I wasn't a huge fan of is the amount of equipment that you can get in this game. Basically, you'll get like these consumables that you can use during combats. Like, it could be a stick of dynamite that can do AoE damage, or it could be a bandage that can heal you in combat and stuff like that. And they're like really nice and useful, but you get so many of them, and like you'll never be able to like burn through, I mean, unless you're using stuff each turn in combat, but you can only have like 3 equipped for a combat sequence, so there's not like a whole lot that you can use, and you just have so much of it. And especially by the end, like there's just so much equipment that I had that I just didn't get to use, because at the end of each act you go on to a new character that has a new like equipment that you'll find and stuff like that. And so I just didn't really like the equipment. I wish it was more focused on the combat abilities of the characters rather than all of these like different really OP equipments. And while I really enjoyed the combat in this game, there were a few combat sequences that were really boring. So basically how combat works is you can either fight or you can run away from the enemy. And there's a few other things that you can do, but that's basically the 2 things that you can do. And there's just some encounters where you are playing like a ranged character and there's like a melee thing that's running up to you, and you just have to keep running away so it doesn't attack you, and then you finally get far enough that you can actually do some damage to it. But it gets really boring having to run and run and run and run, and then you finally get just far enough away that you can like shoot the enemy. I didn't like those ones, but luckily there wasn't too many combat sequences like that, and for the most part, most of the combat was fun. But other than those 2 small issues, I really did enjoy this game, and I think overall this is just a fantastic game. And right now with the Steam Winter Sale going on, I think this game is like $13 or something like that. This is, while it is a pretty small game, I think overall it took me like 10 hours to complete through the full story one time. It was just such an enjoyable ride and such an enjoyable story, and it does kind of have replayability with the different options that you can have, but I think overall, just for one playthrough, the storyline and just the combat and gameplay of the entire game is just so well done and so worth it. And honestly, this might be a potential Game of the Year candidate for me, because it's just such a great game, and I'm so glad that this game has a demo that I found on Steam and played through, and immediately picked this game up after playing through the demo, just from how fun that was. So even if you're not sold on anything, you can go try out the demo and try it for yourself and see how fun this game really is, because I think the demo kind of goes through the tutorial and kind of gets you started on the story, and it's just such a well done demo. And I think this is one of the few games that just nails every aspect so well, and how each just blend together so beautifully. The gameplay is just so fun and smooth. The art style is just so beautiful and vibrant, and then the music composed along with it just really hits home and really helps with the kind of story aspects and how the story is told throughout the game. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Comment any other fantastically fun games for under $15 that you know of, and I'll definitely check them out. And make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.